Well, nice to see you again. I'm going to do a little broccoli project. Now you can use whatever jar uh, you want. It's like, here's a regular mason jar. And then I've got different sizes. Yeah, I've got them from that, the little ones all in between. So what I like to use is the one step up from the little jam jar. So what I'll do is I'll take some water and I will put it in the microwave, warm it up to about 90 degrees, right around there, and then get my little, this thing is so accurate. I use this sometimes every day and sometimes all day for all kinds of different projects. Right, so I'll mic it and get it around 90 degrees, give it a little temp check, because you get it too hot, it'll damage the cells in the broccoli. So you just take your broccoli. Now I got these for like $9.99 at Amazon, but who knows what it is now. I got this a couple years ago. So what I do is I'll take just a teaspoon for a jar. Let me see, for a jar, say this size, because I'm a bachelor, so I start them out in a jar like that, right? Kind of a small one, and I'll get that water 90 degrees, plus or minus a degree or two. You don't need to turn it into E equals MC squared, energy times mass. So then I'll take a teaspoon and I'll just drop that teaspoon into the jar. I usually warm the water up and then I pour that into the seeds. Do not put the seeds in the microwave. Don't do this at home, boys and girls. No seeding in the microwave. You'll kill the DNA strands. It'll just, right, damage them. Danger, Will Robertson. So you put them in 90-degree water, and it'll look kind of like that, right? That's about a teaspoon I put in that one. What I do is I learned not to take a power sprayer to your screens. I had some mildew. It was some old screen. It must have been like 15 years old. And I took a power sprayer to it because I'd built some moss up because it was in the shade. I took a power sprayer. I'm going to get all this moss off here. Well, by the time I was done, there wasn't much of this left. But the window was okay. The glass was fine. So I went and bought a big roll. I went around and placed all my screens because they were old. Bigger bugs were getting through. And so even the ones I didn't power spray. So a little extra, I took it and I cut them in little squares. So you got your lid here, mason jar lid. And so what I do is I just combine those together like birds of a feather. Plop that right on there, give it a nice twist, compress it down so that it seats. And that'll compress. Now here's one thing I'm going to share with you that I found is pretty important. This is called trial and error. Don't err. I'll give you the trial why. Right, so when you're done with these screens, that water has minerals in it. The water does. And by leaving these together, you're going to get mineral deposits and it's going to corrode. Right, so take these out when you're done with that jar and this lid right away. I'm done, and then you rinse it out, get this screen all clean, ready to rock and roll for the next batch. Right, that way it'll stay like this instead of all corroded looking, because we have natural minerals in our water that and then bacterial microbes will actually get in there too and grow, and you get that rust look, and then it stains. Right, so what you do is you take that, you put it on there, and you squeeze it nice and tight so it gets a nice memory in that. You put it in a window, and in 24 hours you'll notice, it's starting to bubble already. Did this a couple hours ago. Put these in here, and you'll start seeing some color besides brown. Some a little bit yellow, a little bit of white. So in 24 hours, they're going to start to germinate. So after 24 hours, you're going to dump that water out, and you're going to take some water and you're going to mic it another 90 degrees or so. Don't go over 100. You can get up to 100, but don't go over that. I recommend. And so, and then you rinse your seeds again in that water, and then you dump the water out, and then you spread the seeds around in the jar. Don't let them stay clumped together if you can help it. And then you sit them back wherever you sit them. You can put them in a pantry, dark place, in a window. If you put them like in a window, make sure there's no light that ever hits it. It needs to be, because if you give it bright light, but with no sunlight, you don't want to give them sunlight. It'll dry them out and kill them. They'll turn a darker green as they mature. If you put them in a pantry, you don't want a dark green. You just want that microgreen look, right? Brownish, yellowish, not brownish, but you know. So just what you want. I like mine a little green, so I'll put it in a bright window. And right. So what I found to monitor, because I would forget, because you want to exchange the water twice a day. So you exchange the water with warm water, 90 degrees temperature in the morning, and you do the same thing in the evening. So every 12 hours, if not sooner, you know, even 3 hours would be okay. I managed just fine with two rinses every 12 hours. I got broccoli sprouts like when I knew what to do with. I can't. I had this thing full. It just came all the way to the top, pushing its way through the top. Yeah, I couldn't eat that many sprouts. So I went to this. Now you can do what's called Staggerlee. Staggerlee told Billy. Yeah, it's an old song. Leroy Brown. And you can stagger them. So you can start one and say 3 days later, 3 days later, start another one like this. So you can have fresh stuff ready to go 7 days a week if you want. So pretty cool stuff, right? So what I'll do is I'm gonna, don't forget to subscribe, ring my bell. Ring my bell, yeah, that's really important to me, please. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do recording every other day or so to show how it's come along, and just do some reaffirmation of the process. So that's it. And I'll show you what they look like in about 7 days. Now, one thing to remember also, in the wintertime, I don't know if it has to do with the barometric pressure, under pressure, barometric. Okay, so thank you. I'm glad you remembered. So even if it's warmer in the house, I've noticed that they don't grow as fast in the wintertime when it's cold. Seasonal. But in the summer times, like when it starts to warm up, man, these things in the house, they just take off a lot faster, and they seem thicker and bigger, and maybe they can sense the barometric. It was there yesterday. I'm not a meteorologist, but I should remember that one. And so wintertime, slow growing, summertime, fast growing. And so that's something to keep in mind. I keep my house around 62, 64 because I'm really busy, so I like to keep my temperature down. Oh, one more thing I remembered. I'm glad I remembered to tell you. You know when you were a baby? Do you remember when you was a baby? I do. I remember before I could even crawl. I remember some stuff. I'll share it someday. When we're laying there drooling out of the corners of our mouth, we're not using our feet yet, right? When we roll around and start crawling on our knees, the first thing when it comes to our feet, the first things that we engage in with, that we use, is our little toe. Because it's easier to control the little one than it is a big one with more muscles. But then that comes to play pretty soon after that. My point is, as we become really masters at balancing, we don't use our toes for balance as much because we're using our heels We were using the angles of our foot, and then we're using that. But over time, those tendons and muscles in our toes become weaker and weaker, and we start to lose balance. We start to feel less secure. I was walking around today, and it just kind of dawned on me, like, I don't think I use my toes enough. So I started using my toes and man, it was crazy how I popped around. I was like, well, that's why we've got toes. Fingers and toes, right? My feet are going to be so sore tomorrow. Not my feet, my toes are going to be sore tomorrow. I've never used them in that way that I can recall, ever. When I would turn, I would think about my toes first. Use my toes to push off. Use my toes to catch myself. Use my toes, not my feet, not the balls in front of my feet. No, use the toes to balance everything, to push off, just the toes. It's kind of like the ballerina. She's on her toes. Yeah, I'm using my toes now to walk. I'm using my toes to turn, to pivot, to catch myself going down. And so, yeah, right? Man, it's amazing how I feel about my walking now. I was like, I work out all the time. I exercise, I jump, I do all these things. How come I still feel strange when I'm walking? Because I lost the routine of using my toes. From sitting all these years. Or just not thinking I needed to engage them when I walk because I feel strong everywhere else. But over time, the less and less we use them, the less and less they come into play. As we get older, and so over time they become less interactive with us, and we start to lose our balance. Toes. Stay on your toes. Remember Mama would say it, Grandma and all that. Hey boy, you need to stay on your toes, boy. Yeah, I just thought I'd share that little tidbit. It dawned on me. It was like one of those epiphany things you get, Yeah. All right, thumbs up. I'm going to do another podcast of the progression of these things in about 3 days. I will see you then. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe, ring my bell, thumb me up, leave me a comment. And you can also find me on Jimmy Turner 64 Google. You can Google me. And so if you Google me, Jimmy Turner 64. By the way, my name's Jim. Nice to meet you. If you Google Jimmy Turner 64, I think that I discovered this yesterday. I think my playlist just pops right up. And you can go down the playlist and select what category, whether it be the B section or this is going to be in the gardening section. You can select the garden section, the exercise section, the music section. You can just auto section. I've got different sections. The appliance section. I do. So, yeah. I do a few things. All right. Well, I'll keep you updated on the progression of it.